Okay. All right, you guys, welcome to part 3 of Carnival certification with Team Seaside. We are going to finish it up. We are on diamond level and we are on course 303. I'm going to go ahead and push play. Please, forgive me for any background noise going on today. Hopefully it won't be too loud. Let's go ahead and get started.
Hello and welcome to our Learn and Earn program, Carnival's Travel Advisor Training Program. As an advisor selling Carnival to your clients, your role is a critical one to the Carnival brand. Thank you in advance for your commitment to learning about Carnival Cruise Line and the fun, value, and memorable experiences that Carnival brings to millions of guests worldwide. In today's module, we'll be talking about Carnival's onboard beverage programs, and our topics will include some of our onboard bars and lounges. We'll talk about what programs are available, and then we'll go more specifically into the Cheers package, Cheers Zero Proof, bottomless bubbles, and then finally we'll discuss how guests can make these purchases. So let's get started. So when we're talking about Carnival, we have lots of lounges and bars for our guests to hang out and have a great time. If we're talking poolside, we're looking at places like the Red Frog Rum Bar, where guests can get a frosty rum drink along with our private label beer, Thirsty Frog Red. We also have the Blue Iguana Tequila Bar poolside, where guests can get maybe a margarita or one of their favorite tequila drinks. And then on some of our ships, we feature the Red Frog Tiki Bar, where guests can sit in a 2-story high tiki bar and enjoy a cocktail poolside. Now, we also offer breweries on board. So many of our ships actually have a working brewery on board where we're brewing different craft beers. Those places include our Guy's Pig and Anchor Smokehouse Brewhouse and our Red Frog Pub. Now, our Excel class ships feature a couple very unique bars and lounges. These are going to be upscale, beautiful locations to sit and enjoy a classic cocktail along with some live music. Those include Brass Magnolia on Mardi Gras, the Golden Jubilee featured on Carnival Celebration, and the Golden Mermaid featured on the Carnival Jubilee. In addition to these beautiful upscale bars with live music, we also have some fun, really innovative bars featured on our Excel class ships as well. These are where your mixologists are going to get creative and they'll do things like put Swedish fish in your drink. You'll have boba pearls. There could even be a bubble blown on top of your drink. These are going to be places like Fortune Teller on Mardi Gras, Latitudes Bar on Carnival Celebration, and Dr. Ink's PhD on Carnival Jubilee. So lots of fun places to hang out. Then if we're talking evening, we do have a lot of our guests' favorite bars and lounges on board. Those are going to include our piano bar, where guests can enjoy a cocktail and sing late into the night with the piano player and their new best friends. We also feature the Havana bar on many of our ships, where we bring in live Latin music. It's a great place to have a Cuba Libre or a mojito. Alchemy Bar is definitely a guest favorite. This is made to look like a vintage pharmacy. All the bartenders wear white lab coats and they mix up prescriptions for whatever ails you. They are true mixologists. There's a menu to order off of, or our guests can ask our mixologist to create something special just for them. And then last but not least, our Heroes Military Tribute Bar. These are sports bars on board. We feature memorabilia from all the different branches of service. We love our men and women of the armed services. In fact, Carnival Cruise Line carries more men and women of the armed forces than any other cruise line out there, and it's a distinction we're very proud of. So not only do you have this beautiful lounge to hang out in and catch a game surrounded by memorabilia from all the different branches of service, but we also sell signature pints in here, all in an Operation Homefront glass. Those glasses, for each sale of them, proceeds go to Operation Homefront, which is an organization that supports the families of our men and women overseas. Now, in addition to our bars and lounges, I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about our Java Blue Cafe. So certainly our guests on board love to stop in here, get a specialty coffee in the morning or in the afternoon or even the evening. We also do milkshakes here, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic. There's some grab and go options here. You can get your bottled water, but Java Blue Cafe is always a hot spot to hang out. Now, as we're talking through our beverage programs on board, we did want to mention that we do have some complimentary beverages that are offered fleet-wide on board all of our ships. Those options include non-bottled water, lemonade, iced tea, hot chocolate, and then just regular non-specialty coffee and tea. Now, these are all served and offered in our main dining room and are also available 24/7 in our Lido restaurant. Now, as we go through and talk about the beverage products, please know that Carnival Cruise Line has a partnership with Coca-Cola, so all of our products on board are Coca-Cola products. We offer 3 different beverage packages. Those are going to include our Cheers beverage program, our Cheers Zero Proof, which is our non-alcoholic package, and our Bottomless Bubbles, which is our unlimited soda package. So let's talk through each of the 3 programs here. The first is going to be our Cheers beverage program. This is going to be our all-inclusive beverage program. It does include all drinks on board priced $20 and lower, which pretty much covers just about everything on our menu. That includes cocktails, your whiskeys, your cognacs, your wine and champagne by the glass, your beer. Even if you go to one of your pour your own beer stations, that's included as well. So there is a limit to the alcohol drinks. It's 15 drinks within a 24-hour time period, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But in addition to all of the alcohol drinks and the beer and wine, you also get unlimited non-alcoholic drinks. And the non-alcoholic drinks include soda, any type of virgin daiquiris or cocktails, anything that's zero proof, any of your milkshakes, any of the specialty coffees, bottled waters, juices, you name it. Now, please keep in mind it is good for, again, all drinks priced $20 and lower, and it is by the glass. If your clients are coming on board and they'd like to purchase a bottle of wine or champagne, maybe there's a nicer bottle of wine that we don't offer by the glass. We do offer under the Cheers program a 25% discount. A few other details we want to share with you about our Cheers beverage program is that every guest, if one guest 21 or older purchases it, all other guests in the room that are 21 years or older must also purchase the Cheers package. It is done on the entire cruise. It's not offered on a per day basis. So it's an all or nothing. You take it for the entire cruise. You can't pick and choose days to choose it on. It also, as we mentioned before, it's for 15 alcohol drinks within a 24-hour time period. That is 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. In fact, once our guests reach that 15 drink limit, they are not allowed any additional alcohol drinks until the next morning at 6 a.m. Certainly, we want our guests to come on board and have fun, but we want to make sure that fun is done in a responsible manner. A couple other things to know about our Cheers program. In certain states, due to state laws, we cannot officially start the Cheers program until the second day of the cruise. So 6 a.m. on the second day of the cruise, those are for voyages departing out of Texas, New York, and Virginia. So when guests purchase the Cheers package, it is already prorated not to include that first day. So anything they purchase on the first day would just be a la carte, and then Cheers would start the next day starting at 6 a.m. Please also know that our Cheers beverage program does not extend to any destinations that we visit, and that does include any of the exclusive destinations that we visit. Now, for additional restrictions and details, please be sure to visit GoCCL. In addition to Cheers, we have just recently added our Cheers Zero Proof package. So this is going to be unlimited non-alcoholic beverages. So pretty much anything that is not a cocktail, beer, or wine is going to be included in the Zero Proof. There's no limit, there's no cap on how many you can order. It includes all of our sodas, which again are Coca-Cola products, all juices on board, bottled waters, and coconut water. Also, any of our premium and coffees and teas, so any of the specialty coffees at Java Blue, also any zero proof cocktails, any smoothies, any protein shakes, any milkshakes, and any energy drinks. So this is unlimited, and it does give guests another option to come on board and control the spending on board if they know that they're going to drink a lot of sodas and a lot of bottled waters and maybe a lot of coffees. A few more details on Cheers Zero Proof. So just like Cheers, it must be purchased for the entire length of the cruise. There's no partial day purchases that are available. It is per person and it cannot be shared, but we do not require that all guests in the stateroom purchase Zero Proof. Please also know, just like Cheers, Cheers Zero Proof does not extend to any of the destinations that we visit, and that includes any of our exclusive destinations. Now, when we're talking about combinability, so not all guests are required to purchase Zero Proof. You can have a combination of people in the room who purchase Cheers Zero Proof and bottomless bubbles that they can be combined in the same stateroom. However, please keep in mind that Cheers Zero Proof and Cheers cannot be combined. So you can't have one guest purchasing Cheers and then another guest purchasing Cheers Proof. Again, with the Cheers program, which is the alcohol package, that all guests 21 and older must purchase the same package. So you can't substitute it for Cheers Zero Proof. Now, again, for additional restrictions, please visit goccl.com for more details. And then finally, the last program that we offer is our bottomless bubbles program. So this is our unlimited soda program. This would be unlimited soft drinks. Again, Coca-Cola is our product that we use on board, and any standard juices. So any orange juice, cranberry, tomato, pineapple, or grapefruit. It does not include bottled waters. It does not include the specialty coffee. So just your sodas and just your standard juices. So that's the main difference between bottomless bubbles and Cheers Zero Proof. Cheers Zero Proof does give you a little bit more variety and also includes those specialty coffees and milkshakes. Bottomless bubbles just includes the unlimited sodas and juice. And again, just like Zero Proof, not all guests have to purchase this in the stateroom. Now, how do they purchase? There is a discount for pre-purchasing any of these packages in advance. Once they get on board, they can purchase as well, but the price point is slightly higher. Please keep in mind that once your guests have a deposit on their booking, they can go ahead and start making these purchases. So they would do this by going through their online cruise manager or by going to carnival.com/fun shops. They can also do it by calling the fun shops department as well. The cutoff for pre-purchase is right before midnight the day prior to their cruise. Now, again, they can purchase it in advance. There is a slight discount for purchasing it in advance, or they can choose to purchase it on board. If they choose to purchase any of these packages, Cheers, Cheers Zero Proof, or Bottomless Bubbles, they can do it on board at any of the bar locations. Now, please keep in mind that once they're on board, they would have up until the second day of the cruise to purchase the package. So if you're going to go ahead and purchase it, it makes sense to do it on the first day. You can do it all the way up until the second day. But again, better pricing if they do it in advance and do a pre-cruise purchase. And just like that, you're on your way to becoming an expert in fun. Thank you so much for watching our video on Carnival's onboard beverage programs. Please remember to take the short quiz to complete this training. And for more information on this topic and more, please visit goccl.com. Thank you so much for your support of Carnival Cruise Line.
Okay. I hope you were paying attention because I wasn't. All right. Let's see. Which one of the following is not a bar featured on Carnival? Alchemy Bar, Coyote Ugly, Red Frog, Tiki Bar, and Fortune Teller. Okay, I know Alchemy Bar is. I know Red Frog is.
Yeah,
Coyote Ugly
I think
That's what I was
is
thinking.
not.
Which ship is the Fortune Teller on though? I haven't seen that one.
That's the one that she was talking about, does like the Sour Patch in the drink or the bubble
Okay.
on top. Yeah,
Okay. All right, cool. All right, next one. Carnival Cruise Line features Coca-Cola products fleet-wide. That is true.
true.
I know because people are complaining here in Texas that they don't have Dr. Pepper on Carnival.
Oh,
Yeah, because Texas is a big Dr. Pepper
yeah.
state. Yeah. Okay. Which of the following is a requirement for those purchasing the Cheers beverage packages? All guests must board by 12 p.m. noon. Guests must wear a wristband. All guests 21 years or older in the same stateroom must purchase the package and must be
Yes.
on an early saver promotion. That is correct. All guests 21 years or older in the same stateroom. And then Cheers, zero proof includes the following: alcoholic beverages, unlimited specialty coffees, unlimited non-alcoholic milkshakes, and unlimited sodas and bottled water.
The first one.
Yep.
Yay, 100. Okay, let's move on to the next.
That must be really new. The zero proof.
Yeah, I hadn't heard the zero proof one. It used to be just Cheers.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, let's do Carnival's wedding program.
Hello, and welcome to our Learn and Earn program, Carnival's Travel Advisor Training Program. As an advisor selling Carnival to your clients, your role is a critical one to the Carnival brand. Thank you in advance for your commitment to learning about Carnival Cruise Line and the fun, value, and memorable experiences that Carnival brings to millions of guests worldwide. In today's module, we'll be talking about Carnival weddings, and our topics will include our Carnival weddings department, some of the wedding basics. We'll also cover different types of Carnival weddings, which include cruise wedding services, cruise wedding packages, and then we'll talk about renewal of vows, along with some frequently asked questions and how to book a Carnival wedding. So let's get started. So at Carnival, we want to make it as easy as possible for couples to say, I do in Carnival style. So we have an entire department dedicated to the planning and orchestrating of our weddings on board. So the wedding packages that we offer are either on board our ships the day of sailing or at various ports of call. And in the various ports of call, they can either be on board or on the island. We also offer 2 different packages for the renewal of wedding vows, and this is a ceremony that will be performed by the ship's captain while at sea. Couple fun facts: our wedding team hosts an average of 8 to 16 weddings per month per ship, so they are extremely popular, and the sooner you can book, the better. The wedding department does not help with the planning of a proposal, and they do not help with engagement parties or bachelor or bachelorette parties. But anything wedding related, that's our wedding department. Let's talk a little bit about the wedding basics. So as previously mentioned, packages are offered both on board or shore. Now, the wedding couple must be booked on a cruise to book a wedding package. Please be sure to check availability, and the further out, the better, because as mentioned, this is an extremely popular option. Now, legal weddings must be booked at least a minimum of 60 days before the sail date. That's based on availability to make sure that we're able to get all of the documentation and proper paperwork in. We do also offer same gender services. It depends on the port, so please, again, confirm availability before booking. And we do offer weddings in Australia for embarkation in both Brisbane and Sydney. Please keep in mind that at-sea weddings and renewal of vows are also offered, but we do not offer wedding services in the destination ports for our Australia sailings. Also important to note, for sailings in Australia, we are not allowed to have non-sailing visitors on board for shipboard weddings at the embarkation ports. Now, speaking of which, so the first type of wedding is going to be an embarkation wedding, and we do this from our home ports. So an embarkation wedding takes place on the ship before the cruise begins, so the bride and groom can celebrate with their friends and family. This is really the best option for couples that have a lot of guests that are not able to sail with them. So they can have a combination of guests that are cruising with them and some non-sailing guests that are just on for the day. So typically, we begin the arrival and embarkation around 10 a.m. for most of the ports for the wedding couple and their guests to arrive. The couple and their guests are then given priority boarding to get on board, to get settled and get ready for the ceremony. Now, please note, I mentioned that you can have a combination of guests that are sailing and non-sailing. There is a maximum of 50 non-sailing guests that are allowed per wedding. So keep that in mind. And again, the bride and groom must be on that cruise. Now, a wedding at sea is going to be more of a symbolic option. So it's not legally binding, and it is going to be offered on select ships and dates. So again, please check with our wedding department. Couples are required to provide a proof of legal marriage prior to sailing. This is a great option for couples that want to sail with everyone and celebrate. The ceremony is performed by one of our shipboard officers or a member of our management. But this way, the bride and groom can celebrate with all of their friends and family, and everyone can enjoy the cruise and the ports of call. Now, while the ship is in a port of call, we do destination weddings. So the first type is a destination onboard wedding. This is performed on board the ship while it is docked in one of the particular ports. This is really a great option for couples who want to have that island vibe wedding without actually getting off the ship and having everything set up and turnkey ready for them while on board. The other option is going to be a destination venue wedding, and this is going to happen off the ship at either a beach or a similarly beautiful location. It really gives a great opportunity for the couple and friends and family to take some breathtaking photos. Please keep in mind that some island venues only offer the shipboard weddings, and some islands offer both the shipboard and the venue option as well. So please check with the wedding department and know that there are two options in the various ports of call. Now, for the ceremonies on board, we do use one of our lounges, and we set it up in a traditional chapel type style with the white runner and the two white pillars. We also have floral arrangements, and depending on the tier that they select and what the vendor can provide, there may be some additional enhancements that can be added to the lounge. Now, the lounge is kept as private as possible because there are other guests on the cruise ship. We do have signage outside of the lounge where the ceremony is taking place, and we try to keep the event as private as possible. All of our shipboard wedding packages include a classic wedding cake, and our chefs do a phenomenal job of putting together some beautiful cake options. We can also host a reception on board. Again, depending on the tier and package that your wedding couple chooses, we have some beautiful hors d'oeuvres that can be set out, beautiful displays, ice carvings. So really, they can have the reception of their dreams following their ceremony on board the ship. Entertainment, we can certainly have a DJ available for the reception so the bride and groom can have their first dance together, and all of their friends and family can celebrate reception style and have some entertainment on board the ship. Photography and videography is definitely a big one for our wedding couples. So for the wedding day photography, Carnival's professional photography team will be included with the wedding packages, and then the photographs are all sold separately. There's a couple different packages that they can purchase. We can also have a videographer there to do short video clips with musical backing. The highlights will include the ceremony and the reception. The video will also include clips of the wedding couple around the ship after the wedding. It does not contain the original audio from the ceremony, and it's presented on a USB flash drive. So the video can be purchased separately or as an additional upgrade to any of our wedding photography collections. Let's talk about the different packages available. So the first one is going to be an intimate ceremony, and then there's going to be 3 different levels: gold, platinum, and diamond tiers. This is going to include 2 to 10 guests max. That includes the wedding couple, and then it depends on how many additions they want to add on whether it is gold, platinum, or diamond. The next level up is the grand ceremony. Again, 3 different tiers: gold, platinum, and diamond. This is going to include 11 or more guests, including the couple. Sometimes, depending on the ship, it is capped out at 35 guests. And again, depending on how elaborate and what they want for add-ons, determines whether it's gold, platinum, or diamond. And then finally, we've got the Carnival Classic, again, with the 3 different tiers. This is going to be for larger wedding groups, starting at 20 guests, including the couple. Again, 50 non-sailing guests maximum for embarkation weddings. But this is going to be the larger groups. And again, 3 different tiers: gold, platinum, and diamond. Now, the prices are all going to be in US dollars and are going to be based upon, one, the package that's selected, again, intimate, grand, or classic, gold, platinum, or diamond tier. It's also going to be based on the ship and based on the location. Now, in addition to doing our Carnival weddings, we also offer 2 different renewal of vows packages. So the couple must be legally married before booking a renewal of vows package. Proof of marriage is required at the time of booking. Obviously, the couple must be booked on the cruise as well. The ceremony is performed by the ship's captain or an officer in a private location. They're then given a keepsake certificate signed by the captain and presented in a night. It also comes along with a long stem rose for the bride and a matching boutonniere for the groom. There's a 2-tier wedding cake, a sparkling wine toast, some pre-recorded music for the ceremony, and photography service, just like our wedding packages. So let's talk through a few of the frequently asked questions. What is the maximum number of non-sailing guests that they can have at the wedding? I think we've gone through this one, but the maximum is 50 non-sailing guests that will be allowed per wedding. That's for an embarkation wedding where you have guests just coming on for the day. Now, does the couple need to cruise to have a Carnival wedding? Yes, that is a big resounding yes. Is the cruise price included in the wedding package? No. So typically the best way to handle would be to check wedding space, book the bride and groom, and then the bride and groom can handle booking their wedding package separately. Can they pay with the wedding overtime? So for wedding services, payment is required in full at time of booking, but if they are using something like Uplift, they can make a payment plan and make payments over time. Is there a special time of the year where packages are discounted? No, package prices are the same all year long. And again, the package prices are going to depend on the ship and the location of the port. Is there a penalty for canceling? Yes, there is a non-refundable fee to book, and then additional fees may apply based on the time of cancellation notice and the sail date. A few more questions. How long does the ceremony typically last? The ceremony typically lasts 15 to 20 minutes long. How do you determine what wedding lounge the wedding will be in? So our group event planning team will assign based on the availability and the size of the wedding group. And again, we use all of our lounges and multi-purpose them. We add that beautiful aisle runner along with the columns and flowers and decorate the lounge to make it perfect for the bride and groom. Will the ceremony be performed by the ship's captain? Now, legally, our captains can only officiate renewal of vows. An officiant will be provided at embarkation weddings and also any of the destination weddings. Couples can also provide their own officiant. The only exception right now is Grand Turk. But again, please check with the wedding department for additional details. Do you perform same-sex marriages? Yes, we do offer same-sex ceremonies in all of our U.S. embarkation ports and in Key West. Same-sex destination weddings is going to be based on the availability in the countries that we visit. So again, please check with the wedding department. So how do you actually book a Carnival wedding? So as mentioned at the very beginning, we've got our Carnival's wedding department. They're open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. You can also send them an email, but you would want to check to make sure the wedding space is available prior to booking the cruise. Now then, once you've confirmed that the space is available, you will need to book the bride and groom's cruise. So they have to have a cruise book before they can actually book the wedding. Now, you want to do this as soon as possible. As mentioned, it's an extremely popular option for bride and grooms, and we have quite a bit of demand. So the earlier the better. And as soon as you have them booked, I would encourage the bride and groom to start working on their wedding package because it is available on a first come, first served basis. The wedding package itself must be paid in full at the time of booking with a credit card, and a portion of that price is non-refundable. So to view more details on our weddings, please visit goccl.com and click on Marketing Tools. Under Marketing Tools, you'll be able to view a wedding brochure with full details on the various packages and package prices. And just like that, you're on your way to becoming an expert in fun. Thank you for watching our video on Carnival's wedding program. Remember to complete the short quiz to complete this training. And for more information on this topic and more, please visit goccl.com. Thank you so much for your support of Carnival Cruise Line.
I'm here. I'm here. Sorry, I'm running back and forth. Okay. There we go. All right, first question. Which of these Carnival wedding options are available to couples? Vow renewals, embarkation wedding, onboard destination wedding, or all of the above?
All of the above.
All the above.
Okay. Carnival's wedding department will only book the wedding once the couple's booking has been deposited. True or false?
True.
Which of the following is not included as an option for wedding packages? Ceremony space, photography, spa services, or wedding cake?
Spa service.
All right. And Carnival's wedding department will help with the proposal planning. True or false?
True.
Oh. We got
Oh boy.
5. What in the world?
It must be false. They won't help with the proposal planning?
Okay, let's try it again.
Oh, maybe we're thinking proposal the wrong way. Like,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
So that would be false.
That would be false.
All services. Carnival department only books wedding once. Completely true. And then this one was all of the above.
All the above.
100%.
Yep.
It would be cool though if they would help with the proposal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that would be cool.
You would think.
All right. Let's see. Moving on to Carnival's Flight of Fun program. This one here is something that interests me because I've never learned about it. So let's go ahead and do it.
Hello and welcome to our Learn and Earn program, Carnival's Travel Advisor Training Program. As an advisor selling Carnival to your clients, your role is a critical one to the Carnival brand. Thank you in advance for your commitment to learning about the fun, value, and memorable experiences that Carnival Cruise Lines brings to millions of guests worldwide. In today's module, we'll be talking about Carnival's Flight of Fun program. And our topics will include, what is Flight of Fun? We'll talk about the 2 different Flight of Fun options. We'll do a very high-level overview of the highlights of the program. Then we're going to do a walkthrough on how to actually book Flight of Fun for your clients. And finally, we'll round it out with some frequently asked questions. So let's get started. What is Flight of Fun? So Flight of Fun is Carnival's flight program for guests who want to make flight arrangements to and from their cruise vacation, and they want to have it as one-stop shopping to pay for everything all together, including their cruise, flights, and transfers. Now, our Flight of Fun program does offer competitive air, and it gives your clients the ability to customize that air. As part of our Flight of Fun program, we do have 2 different options. The first one is going to be flexible air. Flexible air is going to be the easiest option. So it is a convenient flight booking through Carnival, so your guests can pay for both their flight and their cruise together. It does include our Flight of Fun travel protection, which means that if the flight is delayed or interrupted, Carnival will make sure that guests are taken care of. It also can be booked roughly 321 days prior to the flight and has to be booked at least 4 days before the cruise begins. Now, I mentioned just a moment ago that Flight of Fun gives your clients flexibility to search different schedules. They can go ahead and lock in their flights and air payment is not required until the final cruise payment. Now, because of that, that means that any changes that they have to make, if they change ships or sail dates, or if they needed to change staterooms or change flights, they could do that all the way up until final payment. They can even cancel. So if they wanted to lock in their flights and then ended up canceling the flight, they could do that without any penalty or without any service fees. Now, once you're within final payment and within 60 days prior to the sailing, there is a $200 per person service fee for any changes or cancellations. That's in addition to any additional costs that the air carrier may pass along to us. And again, because you're booking air, we do not allow name changes under our air program. So flexible air allows them to book their air, but they don't have to pay for it until final payment. The other kind of air is going to be our restricted air. Now, restricted air is going to be a slightly better price, and just like it sounds, it's going to be a little more restricted. Just like the flexible air, it does allow them to have a flight booking through Carnival where they're paying for both their air and their cruise together. It does include our flight of fun travel protection, where we will make sure that if there's a delay or interruption, that we're able to get them to the ship. Just like flexible air, it opens 321 days prior to the sailing and must be booked at least 4 days before the cruise begins. Now, the difference with this one is as soon as they lock in their air schedule and they get a flight confirmation, full payment for the flight is required within 2 hours. So they do have to pay for this one up front. And because they are paying for this one up front and the charges are non-refundable, that means that any type of changes that they made would be subject to various penalties and fees based on what the carrier's availability is, what type of fare restrictions they may have, and what type of change fees they may have. So obviously no name change is allowed. So two different types of air. Flexible air, they can go ahead and lock in their air schedule, but don't have to pay for it until final payment. Restricted air is going to be a better price, but full payment for the air is required up front. Now, with both of these programs, let's talk about our Flight of Fun highlights. So Flight of Fun is now available to be booked through GoCCL, and I'm going to show you how to do that in just a moment here. Formerly, it was only available to be booked through our contact center. You can still call our contact center, and they can book the air for you, or you can use GoCCL and have that flexibility right there at your fingertips. Now, with our air program, I mentioned at the very beginning, it allows your clients to have a lot of flexibility in their air options. So they can choose from specific carriers. They can look at specific flights. They can also look at different classes of service. So if they wanted to be in economy or if they wanted to be in first class or business class, they have those options as well. They can also customize the schedule and choose to go a couple days beforehand if they wanted to do a pre-package, or stay a couple days after if they wanted to do a post-package, but it does allow them that flexibility. Also, we touched on this just briefly, but Carnival does provide flight protection in the event that there is any type of flight disruption. So if there is an interruption or a delay in the flight, Carnival will do everything within our power to get your clients to embarkation in time to board the ship, or if we miss embarkation, we will get them to the first port of call as long as it's not violating the Jones Act. So how to book Flight of Fun? Because I think this is the big question on everyone's mind. So I mentioned you can now do it through GoCCL. When you go to GoCCL, if you go to the booking tab off the toolbar and click on Manage Booking. So Manage Booking, you'll put your booking number in here. If you don't know that, put in the last name of the guest along with their ship, and it will pull up their booking confirmation screen. So once you are here, you'll want to go to the middle of the screen and select My Cruise Manager. So when you select My Cruise Manager, it's going to redirect you to carnival.com and put you in the client's online cruise manager. Now, when you're in the screen, and by the way, you can come here to help them with other type of add-ons and additions as well, but you know you're in here as the travel advisor because it says right here in the upper right-hand corner, travel agent. Once you are in the screen right here, you'll look at the categories tab, and there is a drop-down menu. So if we do the drop-down, you'll notice you get a bunch of different options that you can add on to the cruise package, and one of them is Flight of Fun. So let's click on Flight of Fun, and it's going to pull up our Flight of Fun booking engine. So you'll notice it automatically pre-populates the booking number. All you have to do is hit search flight. Now, just a very quick note that if the booking is not deposited, you do have to have a deposit on the booking to be able to search for the flights. If you did not have a deposit, when you click search flights, it's going to tell you that you have to have a deposit. So let's click search flights. And what we're going to see here is a screen that has all of the basic information pre-populated. So at the very top, you're going to see that it says who you're booking for. So it automatically defaults to the guests that are in the room. If you only needed air for one person in the room, or if you were doing flight schedules from different cities, you could always just do one of them and then click the next one later and do a different city. You'll also notice that it is going to put in the cruise departure date and the cruise return date. Now, also from the screen, you're going to have a couple different qualifiers that you can look through. You can sort by the number of stops. So if they wanted a nonstop flight, if they were okay and they're just looking price and they were okay with multiple stops, you could choose up to 2 stops, or you could just leave it set at any. You can also choose the airline. So in this case, I'm going to choose Delta. And then down below, what you'll notice are more qualifiers. So both the departure flight getting to the cruise ship and the return flight getting home from the cruise ship. So on this side, you can choose the different classes of service. You also have boxes that you can put in the airports. You can change the airports if you want. So in this case, they're flying into London Heathrow, but let's say they wanted to go into Paris beforehand. You could have them flying into Paris and then flying home from London, or any combination of cities. It also defaults automatically to the date of cruise departure and the date of cruise return. If you wanted to change those, all you would do is click on the box. It does pull up a calendar box where you can select a different date. This is how you could do a pre or post with the air, but I would always recommend that you at least fly in the day before for a cruise. So especially if we're doing a European cruise. So I'm going to do it for one day before the cruise and then one day after the cruise. Once I've selected my qualifiers, the next screen I'm going to see is going to give me some recommended flights at the top. So it's always going to give you what your lowest price option is and also what your shortest flight option is. Down below are the different flights that meet your criteria. So in this case, we have 32 different flights. You can go through and you can then filter even more. You can look at restricted fare types or flexible fare types. You can again look at how many stops the flight makes. You can look at various departure times. So you can filter a little bit more from this screen as well. And remember those two different types of air, you will see options for both flexible air and restricted air. Now, in this case, I'm booking very close in. Remember, I have all the way up until 4 days prior to the cruise departure. So I'm booking pretty close in. So I do get both options and they're both comparable. I'm going to go ahead and select the flexible air. So I'll hit the select button. And what you'll see on the next screen is it's going to show me that departure flight that I just selected. And it's going to give me options down below for the return flight. Now, when I initially did this, I had a lot of flights that were stopping, had 2 or 3 stops involved. So I went through the filters and I actually did nonstop because they want to get home as quick as possible. Once you select that, you will filter even more and it'll show you the options that meet that criteria. In this case, there is a little bit more additional. So on some of the flights that had like 2 or 3 stops, there was 0 additional. In this case, it's going to be about 300. It's 307.22 cents more per person, but it's a nonstop direct flight. So I'm going to choose the first option here. And again, I'm looking at flexible air. And what I'll get after that is a flight review screen. So here are the flights that we selected. Here's going to be our departure flight. And if I needed to change that, there is a hyperlink that I could change the flight. I also have the return flight listed. And if I needed to change that, there's another hyperlink. And then down below is going to be our fare summary. So it's the total amount of the flight, $3,603.80. And as mentioned with flexible air, no money due at time of booking. That's due with final payment. So everything looks good. I'm going to go ahead and hit book now. So the next screen that I'm going to get will be the guest information. So it'll have each guest broken down. You'll notice in the middle of the screen, there is a drop down where you can add their frequent flyer information. If there's any special services that are required, like a wheelchair, you could also add that here. And then you also need to enter how they prefer to get their flight notifications. So you can put in either their email or their mobile number or both of them. And then if they don't want any type of notifications, they would have to click the button to opt out. So you do have to do this for all the guests in the room. And at the bottom of the screen, again, you'll see that breakdown that shows what the pricing is, what's due right now. And all you have to do is hit the continue button. So from here, you're going to get the terms and conditions for the air transportation. You can look through the terms for the flexible air in this case that tells you what the rules are. We talked about no name changes allowed. We talked about any changes made within 60 days have a $200 fee and any additional applicable fees. Also, it says that we're not responsible for any type of baggage fees because those are airline imposed. And that if they cancel, that air could possibly be in penalty. So in this case, we're outside of penalty, but you do have to read through these, click the I have read and understood and accept above conditions, and then hit accept and book. Congratulations, you have a flight booking now. So this is going to be your flight confirmation. And from here, you're going to have your air booking number. You're also going to have a couple different hyperlinks that I would suggest that you read through or that your clients read through because they can see this in their online cruise manager. But you'll see a link that has the different baggage fees. You'll see another link that says manage your flights. So manage your flights is if they wanted to go, maybe you didn't add their frequent flyer number, maybe you didn't choose a seat for them and they want to fly together. And then the other link I want you to pay attention to is the print. So if you wanted to print this out, I always think it's a good idea to have this confirmation because until the air gets ticketed, you won't see it show up. You won't see the schedule show up. So make sure you always print this out. They could also do managed flights from here if they wanted to go ahead and request their seats. If they have their seats, it would show up right here. So I've made the air reservation. I've gone back into GoCCL. I'm under managed booking. And now what you'll see when we look down into the pricing breakdown, you'll see the fare information and you'll see that $3,603.80 added to transportation add-on. So that's going to be the air that was added. Also on your guest confirmation, there will be a note there about the air and the terms and conditions, but you have successfully added air to a cruise booking. So that's how you would make a reservation through GoCCL. Let's talk through a few of the Flight of Fun frequently asked questions. So first, does the deposit need to be made on a booking to book air with Flight of Fun? The answer is yes. So you do have to have a deposit before you can book Flight of Fun. Remember, I told you if you try to do it through the online cruise manager, it will prompt you with a notice that you're not able to book unless there's a deposit. That brings up the other question. Can you check flights and pricing on Flight of Fun without having a reservation? No, unfortunately, you do have to have a cruise reservation with a deposit before you can look for flights. So most of the time, I would recommend getting a general idea of what flights are pricing out to be, and then you can always research for the client after the cruise booking is made. What is the latest date you can add air? So we talked about this with both different types of air, so both flexible and restricted air, you can add all the way up until 4 days prior to the sailing, assuming that the availability is there. Now, can my client fly in a couple days before or leave a couple days after the cruise date if they wanted to do a pre or post? Absolutely. So they have full flexibility. They can customize and arrange their flight dates either before or after their cruise, however long they want to do it. This is one we get a lot. What happens if my client has a child that is under 2 years old traveling in their lap? The way you would do that is you need to first book your adult clients and do their Flight of Fun air booking. Don't book the child. And then you would need to call us at 1-800-CARNIVAL and advise us that your client will have an infant in lap. We'll be able to note the reservation. That way the airline knows they're coming. Now, does Carnival offer transportation to and from the airport and port? Yes, we do offer transportation services. We do offer transfers both on days of embarkation and debarkation, but transfers must be purchased separately through GoCCL under the Manage Booking. There is a link there that says transfers. So just keep in mind that transfers are only offered on day of embarkation and day of disembarkation. So even if they're flying in a couple days before, they won't be able to do those transfers until the actual day of the cruise. Now, can my clients select their preferred airline? Absolutely. We just did that a moment ago. They can customize however they like. They can choose their preferred airline. They can choose their preferred travel dates. They can look at the different classes of service. They can look at times. They can look at how many layovers there are. So they can fully customize it with whatever their preferences are. Now, what is the latest arrival time and the earliest departure time? Flight of Fun does take all of the sailing information into consideration. So it's not going to let you book anything that is going to be too late to get you into the cruise or anything that's too early to get you home from the cruise. So we make sure that you do have sufficient time based on what the guidelines are for embarkation and debarkation. And just like that, you're on your way to becoming an expert in fun. Thank you so much for watching our video on Carnival's Flight of Fun program.
Okay, that was an interesting one. All right, number 1, which Flight of Fun option allows air payment to be due at the same time as a final cruise payment? Flexible air, restricted air, both flexible and restricted.
Flexible.
Flexible.
Okay. Number 2, Flight of Fun can be purchased up in until 15 days prior to selling. True or false?
False.
Air protection is automatically included with our air program. True or false?
True.
Our flexible fares allow clients to make changes 30 days prior to cruise departure without penalty. True or false? Y'all don't know?
I'm trying to see my notes.
Oh. I think it's true.
Prior to 60 days before cruise flight.
Yeah, I was going to say it says 60.
Okay.
Yeah.
So false. You must have a deposit on the booking to search for the Flight of Fun flight. True.
Yes. True.
Yay, 100. Mm-hmm. All right, next one is going to be Carnival's Welcome Home program.
Hello, and welcome to our Learn and Earn program, Carnival's Travel Advisor Training Program. As an advisor selling Carnival to your clients, your role is a critical one to our brand. Thank you in advance for your commitment to learning about Carnival Cruise Line and the fun, value, and memorable experiences that Carnival brings to millions of guests worldwide. In today's course, you will learn all about Carnival's Welcome Home program. Our topics will include what is Carnival's Future Cruise Vacation program, Future Cruise Vacation offer details, how to book clients, frequently asked questions, and following up with returning clients. Every one of our guests will receive an exclusive offer to book a future Carnival cruise within 4 weeks after returning from a Carnival cruise. They will also receive up to $50 in onboard credit. Now for the exciting part, the offer details. Your clients will get early saver rates, which include price protection, 50% reduced deposits, a 2-category upgrade, and an onboard credit for up to $50 per stateroom. You can book this offer for your clients within 4 weeks of them returning from their current cruise. Plus, these offers can now be booked into groups. Ready to book your client for the Welcome Home offer? Go to goccl.com. In the navigation, hover over Booking. Then in the drop-down under Create Booking, click on Individual Stateroom. Because the Welcome Home offer is exclusive and associated to each guest who sails, it gets added to their VIFP number. To see which offers your client has available, look under Individual Booking and enter their VIFP number. If you do not know it, just click on the magnifying glass and enter their name and date of birth. This will bring up their VIFP number. Click on the Add Number button. Your client's VIFP number will be filled in, and you will now see a link to view the special offers available to them. Click on that link. Now you will see all the current offers associated with your client's VIFP number. Choose the offer your client is interested in. In this case, it's the early saver. Then click on OFW to see the sailings where the Welcome Home offer is available. Once you select the sailing your client is interested in, you will see the offers available to your client, including the Welcome Home offer. From there, you are ready to book your client on their next cruise. Now let's come over some frequently asked questions about the Welcome Home offer program. Why doesn't Carnival have a program for my clients to book on board? Your clients are there to have fun, and we don't want them to miss out on any of it. That's why we're offering a more convenient way for them to book it, with the added benefits of reduced deposits and free upgrades. Plus, after their cruise, they will have 4 weeks to plan their next one. What ships will offer this program? All of our Carnival ships will offer the promotion except for their Australia sailings. Is the new offer combinable with group bookings? Yes, it is. This offer will be available to book into group reservations. Is this offer combinable with any other offers or promotions? No, this offer may not be combined with any other offers or promotions. How long does my client have to book their next cruise using this offer? Guests have 4 weeks after their cruise to book their next vacation. They can also book while on board from a smartphone or in the Fun Hub. Guests only need their VIFP number to take advantage of the offer. If I find a better offer and utilize price protection for this promotion, can I keep my onboard credit? The Welcome Home offer does come with the pricing protection of Early Saver. If you find a better offer for your client, they can get it, but they might lose the Welcome Home offer benefits, including onboard credit, 2-category upgrade, and reduced deposit. Will my client get to keep the Welcome Home offer benefits if they want to change ships and or the sail date? If your client wants to change to a new ship and or sail date, you will have to book an open promotion for that sailing. If the Welcome Home offer is not open on the new ship and or sail date, then you will lose the Welcome Home offer benefits. The Welcome Home program is a great way to follow up with your clients and get their next cruise booked. Check out our customizable Welcome Home offer program flyer on GoCCL and the Marketing Collateral Library. Add your contact information to the flyer and share it with your clients as soon as they return from their cruise and help them plan their next memorable Carnival vacation. And just like that, you're on your way to becoming an expert in fun. Thank you for watching our video on Carnival's Welcome Home program.
I think that's the quickest one we've done.
I think so.
Okay. Number 1, how long after the cruise does a guest have to use the Welcome Home offer? 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
Yep.
Number 2, Welcome Home offers benefit. Welcome Home offer benefits include the following options: onboard credit, 2 categories upgrades, reduced deposit, price protection, or all of the above.
All the above.
What do I need to book my client's Welcome Home offer? Client's birthday, client's zip code, VIFP, or client's last name?
VIFP.
And number 4, what ships offer the Welcome Home program? All Carnival ships, only the XL class, all Carnival ships except for Australia sailings, or only US-based ships?
The one without the Australia.
Okay. 100. All right.
I am going to have to jump off here, ladies. And I will work on doing 1 through. I'm going to catch up with you guys. Don't worry.
Okay. We want to see you, and we can do Royal Caribbean with us on Wednesday.
Absolutely.
All right. 4:30 Pacific Standard Time. Okay. Same Zoom.
Absolutely. I got you.
All right, girl. Have a good evening.
You as
Bye.
well. Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Okay. Next one is Carnival's Vacation Protection Plan. Dang, this one's 30 minutes long.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Let's keep it up.
Hello, travel advisors. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today, we'll be talking through Carnival's Vacation Protection. And in today's module, we will cover what is Carnival Vacation Protection, why sell Vacation Protection. We'll also talk about, generally speaking, coverages under the plan. We'll also talk about how to enroll in Vacation Protection, including when it can be added and when it can be canceled. We'll also talk through using Vacation Protection if your clients do need to use it. And then we'll round it up with tips for selling. So let's jump in and get started here. Carnival Vacation Protection is a package made up of both insurance and non-insurance benefits. For that reason, we do not call it travel insurance, and we ask that you refer to it as Carnival Vacation Protection. So under the Vacation Protection package, there's 3 different components, which include the cancellation fee waiver program. This is a non-insurance feature that's provided by Carnival Cruise Line and administered by Aon Affinity. Also, the travel insurance benefits, and these are underwritten by U.S. Fire Insurance Company and also administered by Aon Affinity. And then the third component is the Worldwide Emergency Assistance. This is going to be a non-insurance service that is provided by Carefree Travel Assistance. So again, our vacation protection is made up of these 3 different components here. So for that reason, we ask that you not call it travel insurance, that you refer to it as Carnival Vacation Protection. Internally, we do refer to it as CVP. So you may see CVP written in some places as well. Also, keep in mind, when we're talking about the cost for Carnival Vacation Protection, it's not based on an age or where anyone lives. It's based on the actual cruise fare. So regardless of age, Carnival Vacation Protection is added based on what the cruise fare itself is. Now, why would you sell vacation protection? So I would highly encourage every single one of you out there to be selling vacation protection. And if it's not the Carnival Vacation Protection, please make sure that you are offering some sort of vacation protection or travel insurance, because really it provides a peace of mind, not only for you, but also for your clients. And that's for either before their cruise or during their cruise.
Vacation protection is really there for any emergencies that arise, and nobody ever expects an emergency to happen, but that's why it's called an emergency. So it's peace of mind again for you and for your clients, both before the cruise and during the cruise. On the Carnival side, it is commissionable at 10% commission, and our Carnival vacation protection includes a cancel for any reason feature. So if your clients have to cancel and it is an eligible or covered reason, they would receive 100% cash reimbursement for any penalties or cancellation fees that they may have incurred, as long as it is an eligible reason. Now, if it is not a covered reason or an eligible reason, or they just decide they want to cancel and cancel for any reason, Carnival will extend a 75% future cruise credit that's good for 1 year on any type of cancellation penalties that we impose. So it does include that cancel for any reason. A few other reasons why you would want to sell vacation protection is it does offer reimbursement for any medical expenses that they may have for either on board the ship or in another country. It also covers any type of trip delays or baggage delays, and if the bags are lost, there is reimbursement if it's lost, stolen, or damaged. Vacation protection also comes with a 24/7 worldwide assistance line if there is an unforeseen emergency, like they've lost their passport, they've lost their prescription medication, or if there needs to be a medical evacuation. So there's a lot of reasons why you want to sell vacation protection. To me, it really does give everyone involved the peace of mind because nobody ever expects an emergency to happen. Let's talk through those components a little more in detail here. So I mentioned the 3 different components that make up the vacation protection. First is going to be the cancellation fee waiver program. This one we just talked about, that if it is canceled or their clients have to cancel for a covered or eligible reason, they would get 100% cash reimbursement on their total trip costs. If they had to cancel for a reason that is not eligible, they would then receive 75% future cruise credit on any cancellation fees that are imposed by Carnival. So that's the cancellation fee waiver program. Those features are provided by Carnival and again administered by Aon Affinity. The next section is going to be the travel insurance benefits. These are going to be underwritten by U.S. Fire Insurance Company and administered by Aon Affinity. And these are going to include things like if they had independent air booked. If they had independent air booked and there was a cancellation, they could file again as long as it's an eligible or covered reason for reimbursement of the ticket costs. If there was trip interruption, they could get reimbursed for the cost of their trip as well. If there was a trip delay and they had out-of-pocket expenses, there's reimbursement for up to $500 per guest. Or if, unfortunately, there is a medical emergency or a death on board and it involves an emergency evacuation or a repatriation of the remains, vacation protection would cover up to $50,000. That's a big one to me. Any type of medical expenses due to either accident or illness would be reimbursed up to $20,000 per guest. And any type of lost, damage, or stolen luggage up to $1,500 per guest. Baggage delay, if there's out-of-pocket expenses, that would also be up to $500 per guest. And then the third component would be that worldwide emergency assistance. Again, this is a non-insurance service that's provided by Carefree Travel Assistance. So that's a 24/7 hotline to help with any travel assistance either prior to the cruise or during the cruise, any medical assistance that they may need during the cruise, and any emergency services that arise during their cruise as well. So again, those 3 components make up the vacation protection. Let's talk a little bit more in detail about some of the features that are covered under the vacation protection. So first is going to be trip cancellation or interruption. So clients have to cancel their cruise. What is going to be a covered reason? On the non-medical side, a covered reason is going to be a job loss. That's a relatively new one that's been added in the last several years. So if they lose their job, that would be a covered reason to cancel and get reimbursement. If they had jury duty and had to cancel, if they were en route to the cruise itself and there was a traffic accident, whether they were in an accident or there was an accident preventing them from getting to their cruise, that would be covered. Severe weather would be covered either in their home city if it prevents them if en route, whether it's a flight cancellation or the roads are made untravelable, or for some reason there's a severe weather warning or watch that's issued in the port city where the cruise is leaving. As long as it is issued by NOAA or the National Weather Service, then it would be considered covered. Again, it has to be issued by NOAA or the National Weather Service as a severe weather warning or watch for it to be covered. Military service for a natural disaster, that would mean that we are deploying or the National Guard has been called in to help with some sort of natural disaster. If military service, if they're called away and they have a deployment, that's not covered under vacation protection, but we do have a whole other process for offering future cruise credits to military guests that do have deployments that are issued to them. If they had a natural disaster back home, that would also be covered. So those are a few of the non-medical reasons that would be covered if they did have to cancel in advance. On the medical side, generally speaking, illness, injury, and death would be the 3 medical reasons that they could cancel and get reimbursement. Now, as long as it's an eligible reason, they would qualify for a cash refund, including the cost of their cruise vacation, including the airfare if the air was booked through Carnival. If they had an independently booked flight, that would also, as long as it's a covered reason, they would be eligible for reimbursement for a non-refundable air ticket. And a big one on the Carnival side, if they went from like a double room to a single room and there is a single supplement charge, that would also be covered, again, if they were canceling because of an eligible reason. So those are a few of the reasons that they would cancel. Now, when we're talking specifically medical, let's talk about whose health issues qualify for that cancellation and under that would be eligible. So obviously the insured guest, injury, illness, or death, they would be covered. The traveling companion, so someone in the same room, again, illness, injury, or death, and then immediate family members. So again, illness, injury, or death. And when we're talking immediate family members, we are talking about the spouse or domestic partner. We're talking parents, step-parents, and in-laws. We're talking children, stepchildren, foster children, grandparents and grandchildren, any siblings or step-siblings, and then aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, and cousins. So again, if it is an illness or medical issue that they have to cancel, whether it's the insured guest, the traveling companion, or the immediate family members, and here are the immediate family members that would qualify. Now, as we're talking more specifically about medical, whose health issues qualify for them to cancel and be covered. Let's talk about a few exclusions because this is a big one. An exclusion is going to be a reason that they do not qualify for coverage because of a certain situation. The big one on the medical side is going to be a pre-existing condition. So there is a pre-existing condition exclusion. So when we're talking an exclusion, that would be a condition that gets worse within the 60-day period prior to them purchasing vacation protection. It would also be if they got worse that 60 days prior to purchasing, those would be considered pre-existing conditions. The main thing I want you to remember is I don't want you guessing at what would be excluded and what would be considered a pre-existing. We don't want you all to become insurance agents. We don't want you to be speculating on what's covered and what's not covered. I would leave that up to the experts. So please always refer any questions you may have over to Aon Affinity because ultimately they're the ones that make that determination. You don't want to be held liable for saying something is covered and something's not covered. So again, pre-existing conditions, that's any condition that presents itself or becomes worse in the 60 days prior to purchasing vacation protection would be excluded because of the pre-existing condition clause. Please always keep in mind that when we're talking medical evacuations or repatriations, pre-existing condition does not apply to the evacuations or the repatriation. And we're talking specifically about the guests themselves, so the insured guests. So if someone back home, whether a family member, one of those immediate family members had a pre-existing condition and then passed away, that would not necessarily be excluded because it's a pre-existing condition. It only applies to the traveler themselves. So again, please don't speculate on whether something is covered or not covered. Please always refer those questions over to Aon Affinity. Those are the medical pre-existing exclusions. So let's talk about some other exclusions that are not necessarily medical. We talked through the medical one quite a bit here. Also, any condition that is related to drug or alcohol abuse, that would not be covered under the insurance. That would not be a covered reason for canceling. Also, if you cannot get out of work, if you can't get out of school, those would not be covered under those would not be considered a covered reason. So that would be a cancel for any reason. If there's an active war, that's not a reason to cancel. If someone's called away and has a deployment as part of the military, that would not be covered. Again, there's a whole other process in place to extend our military guests a future cruise credit, but it is not covered under our Carnival vacation protection. And certainly if anyone commits an unlawful act and goes to jail, that is not covered under that's not a covered reason for reimbursement. So those are a few of the exclusions that you will run into with the vacation protection. The medical condition is the big one, the pre-existing. 60 days prior if they're diagnosed or the condition gets worse, that would be excluded. And then some of these other conditions as well would also be exclusions. Now, if they are excluded and they do not qualify for the reimbursement, that it's not a covered reason, remember that we do offer the cancel for any reason. Now, if you're new to the industry, this might be a new term for you, CFAR, cancel for any reason. That means that they woke up and they decided that they're not feeling particularly cruisy. They can't find the right dress to go. They broke up with their boyfriend and now they're not cruising together. Whatever the reason is, if it's not a covered reason, as long as they are purchasing the vacation protection outside of final payment, they would qualify for cancel for any reason. That means they would just let us know and they do have to file a claim and get denied. And then Carnival would extend a 75% future cruise credit on whatever cancellation or penalty fees that they may have. And that's good for use up to a year within the date that it's issued. So again, if they cancel for any reason, they do get a future cruise credit that's equivalent to 75% of whatever the cancellation fees are on the Carnival side for use within a year. Now, please keep in mind that guests must purchase the Carnival vacation protection by final payment to be eligible for the cancel for any reason. If they purchase the Carnival vacation protection within final payment, they are not eligible for the cancel for any reason. If they're a no-show, they're also not eligible for the cancel for any reason. So the two things to keep in mind, you want to make sure that they're buying their vacation protection outside of final payment. And if they are not going, make sure you cancel the cruise. Don't let them be no-shows if they want to qualify for the cancel for any reason. Let's talk about trip delay because this is another component that Carnival vacation protection would cover. And when we're talking trip delay, this means that there's bad weather and they're having trouble getting out of their city, whether driving or on a flight. It could be a mechanical delay from the airline. It could be traffic driving to the cruise terminal. It could be that they lost their passports or their travel documents and are not able to get to the ship in time. There's a few other scenarios here. Let's hope we don't run into these, but these would be some of the more uncommon reasons that there might be trip delay and that it's covered. But if they are delayed getting to the cruise terminal, their vacation protection would cover getting them to the next port of call, and they would be able to get a new one-way economy ticket to catch up to where the ship is, or if they are far from home, to return home. It would also cover any unused portion of their vacation. So if they had a partial cruise, it would cover a partial their cruise that they missed. If they have out-of-pocket expenses like meals and accommodations, it would also cover that. Any phone calls that they had to make. So any out-of-pocket expenses, they would be covered up to $500 per guest. So if they're delayed getting to their ship or delayed getting to their port of embarkation, there's a couple things that the trip delay component does cover. Baggage is another one. So as people are flying, there could be lost luggage, it could be stolen, it could be damaged. So the vacation protection does cover up to $1,500 per guest for any lost, stolen, or damaged baggage. Now, if their baggage is delayed getting to them, then it will cover up to $500 per guest to purchase some necessary items. Please keep in mind that the baggage protection is going to be secondary, that the guest must first file a claim with the responsible party. So whether it's the airline, hotel, whomever it may be, they also want to file a claim with their homeowner's insurance as well to see if that covers it. And then their vacation protection, they would file as a secondary insurance. But please keep in mind that it will cover up to $1,500 for lost, damaged, or stolen luggage, and up to $500 for purchase of necessary items if their baggage is delayed getting to them. If the medical protection, this is a big one because we talked about a lot of things that happen before the cruise. Let's talk about while they're on the cruise. So let's say someone gets sick or ill or injured while they're on board the cruise. The vacation protection would cover up to $20,000 per guest for any doctor's visit, any prescriptions, any medical procedures or visits that they would have to have while they are traveling, whether shipboard or within a foreign country. So again, up to $20,000. Please keep in mind that the guests must pay first and then file. If they are having trouble paying out of pocket, that's where the 24/7 emergency hotline would come in on whether they're able to assist with any payments. Medical protection is going to be secondary to any guest's primary or personal medical insurance. So they would want to file a claim first with their medical insurance and then file secondary with their vacation protection. But again, up to $20,000 per guest if they become sick or ill or have to be hospitalized. To me, this is one of the biggest ones, but medical evacuation or repatriation. So if somebody has an emergency on board and has to be medevaced, the cost for being medevaced is somewhere in the 20 to 30,000 range. And if you do not have vacation protection or some type of travel insurance, you are liable for that money out of pocket. Now, the guest does have to be medevaced off the ship. They're not responsible to pay that out of pocket. That would be covered by the Carefree Travel Assistance. Same thing goes if unfortunately somebody passed away on board and we have to repatriate that guest's remains, then that would also be covered under the medical evacuation or repatriation. And there would be no out-of-pocket expenses. That would be prepaid and coordinated by Carefree Travel Assistance. That's that 24/7 hotline. And I keep referencing the 24/7 Worldwide Assistance, that hotline. Let's talk just a little bit more about it. So that's provided by Carefree Travel Assistance, and they'll help with things in advance like travel arrangements if people are having trouble getting to the ship, if there is a trip delay, if they have lost luggage or lost travel documentations, if they need weather updates or advisories, if they need to know what passport requirements are in place, they can always reach out to that 24/7 hotline. Now, while they're traveling, if they need medical assistance, whether that's referral to a local medical provider, if they've lost their prescription, if they need help with medical advisories, they can reach out to that hotline as well. And then on the emergency assistance side, just like we talked about, if someone needs a medical evacuation or has remains that need to be repatriated, this 24/7 line would help prepay and coordinate that as well. So that's the third component to the vacation protection. So again, three components under Carnival Vacation Protection: the cancellation fee waiver program, the travel insurance portion of it, and the 24/7 Worldwide Assistance line. So those are the three components that make up the Carnival Vacation Protection. Let's talk about who's eligible. So the people that would be eligible for Carnival Vacation Protection, you can only offer it if you are a U.S. travel agency and the client is paying in U.S. dollars. That's the travel agents that are eligible for selling it. Now, the guests that are eligible or the clients that are eligible for purchasing, they have to be either U.S. or Canadian citizens or residents. A resident is defined as someone who has lived in either the U.S. or Canada for at least 6 months or longer with a valid U.S. or Canadian address. Now, there are exclusions that do apply. Certain states within the United States are not eligible for Carnival Vacation Protection. Also, certain areas of Canada are not eligible. So there are exclusions that apply. For a full list of who is eligible based on state or provinces, please go to GoCCL under the Knowledge Center and type in Carnival Vacation Protection. That will pull up a full list of who qualifies and who does not qualify. Let's talk about who doesn't qualify. Flamingos don't qualify. People who aren't cruising or refuse to cruise don't qualify. International guests do not qualify. So as previously mentioned, only U.S. and Canadian residents and citizens qualify for the Carnival Vacation Protection, again, as long as they are going through a U.S. travel agency and paying in U.S. dollars. Now, we do not offer our vacation protection on our Australia sailings. So for any international guests or for guests that are sailing in Australia, we strongly recommend that they look at some type of international travel insurance. And again, for a full list of who is eligible and which states qualify, please go to goccl.com, again, under Knowledge Center, and type in Carnival Vacation Protection, and you can look at very specific details. Now, as we talk about how to actually enroll guests that qualify in our Carnival Vacation Protection. So Carnival Vacation Protection can be added onto a booking and will remain on a booking without payment up until final payment. Now, once you put the payment down, then it becomes active. But you can put the vacation protection there and it will stay on the booking and not be active without any payment all the way up until the final payment date. So we would highly recommend that you add Carnival Vacation Protection to every booking and let the guests decide. They have all the way up until final payment to decide whether they want to activate it by putting payment down or if they want to drop it and cancel it. Now, if a client has an existing booking and they want to add Carnival Vacation Protection, they can add it all the way up until 14 days prior to sailing. However, please keep in mind that they are only eligible for cancel for any reason if vacation protection is added prior to final payment. So they can add it within final payment all the way up until 14 days prior to the sailing, but if it is added within final payment, they are not eligible for the cancel for any reason. Now, you can make a last minute new booking within final payment all the way up until day of departure. If they do make a new booking within final payment, the vacation protection can be added within 14 days if it's a last minute booking and space is available. Now, once the Carnival Vacation Protection has been paid for, it is active. So if they're adding it outside of final payment and they've paid for it, once it's paid for, then the coverage is active. Now, if they're on a non-refundable deposit, they cannot cancel the vacation protection and get refunded. Again, once it's paid for, it is active. If they do have to cancel the booking outside of final payment and it's a non-refundable penalty, then the cost of the vacation protection gets rolled into their future cruise credit that's available to them to use within a year. If they're on a rate code that has a refundable deposit and they're canceling outside of final payment, there's no penalties on the booking, so there's no reason that vacation protection should still be there. So then it can be removed and refunded. The only exception to canceling and refunding vacation protection once it has been activated is going to be within 10 days. If they decide within 10 days of adding and paying for the vacation protection that it's not for them, they can have it canceled and the Carnival vacation plan can be refunded. But once you're past the 10 days, if it's been paid for, it cannot be canceled and taken off the booking. Now, let's say that they do need to file a claim. So the first thing you would want to know is as soon as they know they want to cancel the booking or need to cancel the booking, I would cancel it with Carnival just so they don't incur any more penalties and reach out to Aon Affinity. Aon Affinity will then send a link that goes to the guest or to the client that the client needs to fill out. And we would recommend that the client is always filling it out because many times there may be some sensitive personal information that's required, some medical information and medical documentation. So for that reason, the program administrator will send it directly to the client to fill out to determine whether it's an eligible or covered reason. Now, those instructions are all then sent. But again, the main takeaway here is please cancel as soon as you know that they're not able to go. That way they don't incur more penalties and we can get the claim process started as soon as possible. Now, that's if they're canceling in advance. If they need to file a claim once they return, again, any medical expenses outside of medical evacuation and repatriation would need to be out of pocket, and then they would need to file a claim once they get home. So they would need to make sure they're filing first with whoever the responsible party is. So if we're talking about lost, damage, or stolen luggage, that would be first with the airline or their homeowner's insurance. If we're talking medical, they would want to make sure they're filing with their personal medical insurance first and then filing the claim with Aon Affinity. They would need to submit any receipts for those out-of-pocket expenses. So encourage clients anytime they're traveling that they are keeping all receipts with them. And then as a reminder, they have out of pocket first and then file a claim for anything medical or anything baggage related. The exception to that is the emergency evacuation or repatriation expenses. Those are all prepaid and arranged through Carefree Travel Assistance. So they wouldn't have to worry about that. But again, as soon as the client knows that they have an emergency, have them go ahead and cancel the booking so you can start filing the claim. If they have to submit for reimbursement once they return home, they would initiate a claim through travelclaim.com. A form is then emailed, they submit it, and then the claims are processed, and 90% of those claims are paid out. A few tips for selling Carnival vacation protection. I think we've talked through this, but just in case, as a reminder, always include vacation protection as part of their cruise quote. It's up to them to decline it. And whether you're offering our Carnival vacation protection or offering another travel insurance or vacation protection provider, always get any type of denial of vacation protection in writing. No one ever expects anything to happen. No one expects emergencies. And if they're not covered and they are liable or responsible for those cancellation penalties, you want something in writing showing that they have declined that vacation protection. When you are selling the vacation protection, make sure you are going on just factual information. Don't try to use scare tactics. Lay out the benefits on what's included both prior to their cruise and during their cruise in a very factual way. Here's the benefits it's going to include if you have to cancel for the medical and non-medical reasons. If your flight is delayed, it's going to also cover baggage. And then while you're on your cruise, it will cover any type of medical or emergencies that you may have while you're traveling. Absolutely avoid evaluating any type of speculation on whether a guest's existing medical or homeowners coverage will be sufficient. That, again, we don't want you being insurance agents. We want you to refer it over to the experts. So if there are any questions on whether their existing coverage, whether medical insurance or their homeowners insurance will cover any of these, do not speculate because you don't want to be held liable. Know what the plan includes as general overall. Again, talk about the cancellation for the non-medical and the medical reasons. You can talk about the trip delay. You can talk about the baggage. You can talk about while they're traveling, the medical coverage that they get, but do not answer technical questions. We don't want you speculating. We don't, again, want you being insurance agents. Always recommend that at time of deposit that they go ahead and purchase it because they're going to get the best use of coverage if they purchase it right up front because a medical condition may present itself after they've booked the cruise. And then at that point, it would be a pre-existing condition. So the sooner they can purchase the vacation protection, the better. Buy it as early as possible. Again, you want it to be outside of final payment so they qualify for that cancel for any reason. If they decline it or they're still not sure, you can keep the Carnival vacation protection on the booking all the way up until final payment. And then at final payment, they can decide whether to keep it or to cancel it. And if I haven't said it enough, please refer any pre-existing condition questions over to Aon Affinity because, again, you don't want that liability of advising them yay or nay because you don't have the final determination. So that is all of our information about Carnival vacation protection. For more information, again, please go to GoSee.
Okay, let's see if we can pass this one. Oh, boy.
Hit the launch. Come on.
What happened?
Okay, mine took a long time too. I thought it was just me. Oh,
It took me all the way home. Okay, let me go
me too.
back. Learn and Earn training program. Let's try it again. Maybe we weren't meant to do that quiz.
Yeah.
Diamond, and it was the. Hopefully, I don't have to watch the whole video again. Okay, no.
Oh, okay.
Okay, number one, Carnival vacation protection is commissionable. True or false? That's true, right?
At 10% or something, I think.
Okay. Carnival vacation protection is based on the following: age, state, cruise fare, medical condition. Cruise fare?
Cruise fare.
3, a pre-existing medical condition is a condition that presents itself or worsens with what time period? 60 days, I think is what she said.
I think so.
And then 4, Carnival vacation protection must be purchased by when to qualify for cancel for any reason. Prior to final payment?
Yep, I think so.
Yay. All right, on to the last one. Carnival rewards. Mine's not highlighting. Is yours?
No.
Okay. Well, maybe we don't have to do it, I guess.
No. After you stop the recording, I think there's games on the homepage to earn points too. When we got kicked out,
Oh, yeah.
I had an email.
Okay, let's go to the homepage. It's not letting me do that one. Is it letting you?
No.
Okay.
And it's not letting me go home either.
Maybe the system's acting up.
I had a tab open. I got back there finally.
Right now, in honor of Global Travel Advisor Day, I think I played, but I think you can play every day or something like that.
Yeah, and I think is what you said.
Let's see what I do. Drag to drop. Do. You didn't win one of today's featured prizes, but you did score 10 Loyalty Rocks points.
Yeah. I got the same thing. I played the arcade game was it last month, 2 months ago?
Uh-huh.
And I actually ended up with like a little backpack, the cinch bags.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, let me stop recording. That concludes Carnival's certification, you guys.